Jake Paul's boxing journey has been a polarizing spectacle, blending entertainment, ambition, and controversy in a way that has reshaped the sports landscape. From his origins as a YouTube personality to his current status as a ranked cruiserweight, Paul has defied expectations, turning skepticism into momentum with each fight. His recent victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. marked a significant milestone, elevating his standing in the boxing world and sparking heated debates about his next opponent. Among the names swirling in the conversation is Gervonta "Tank" Davis, a pound-for-pound elite whose skill and power contrast sharply with Paul's growing resume and massive commercial appeal. The potential matchup between these two figures, one a traditional boxing prodigy and the other a crossover sensation, has ignited discussions about legacy, skill, and the evolving nature of the sport. This article explores the dynamics of Paul's next potential fight, the feasibility of a clash with Davis, and the broader implications for boxing's future. Paul's win over Chavez Jr. was more than just another notch on his belt. It was a statement. The fight showcased his improving technical skills, composure, and ability to handle a former world champion, even one past his prime. Chavez Jr., known for his durability and name recognition, offered little offense, leading some to question the fight's legitimacy. Skeptics on platforms like X pointed out Chavez's lack of aggression, with one user tweeting that it seemed suspicious for a seasoned boxer to barely throw a punch for 8 rounds, only to look fresh in the final 2. Allegations of a rigged fight surfaced, with claims that Chavez was instructed to hold back, though no concrete evidence supports these theories. Despite the criticism, Paul's performance drew praise from boxing insiders. Ryan Garcia, a rising star, tweeted that Paul did his thing and outboxed Chavez, a sentiment echoed by veteran Antonio Tarver, who noted Paul's improved jab and composure but cautioned that he's still miles away from elite-level competition. The Chavez fight also had tangible outcomes for Paul's career. Boxing Kingdom reported that the victory positioned him as a top 15 cruiserweight by 2 major sanctioning bodies, granting him the opportunity to challenge for a world title as a voluntary defense. This ranking, combined with Paul's massive commercial draw, gives him unprecedented leverage in choosing his next opponent. His ability to generate pay-per-view numbers and attract a global audience makes him a unique figure in boxing, a fighter who can dictate terms not just through skill but through influence. This status has fueled speculation about high-profile matchups, with names like Tank Davis, Saul Canelo Alvarez, and Anthony Joshua thrown into the mix. Paul himself has been vocal about his ambitions, declaring his desire to fight them all and become a world champion in what he calls the world's hardest sport. The call-out of Tank Davis, in particular, has captured attention. Davis, a lightweight and one of boxing's most devastating punchers, represents a significant leap in competition for Paul. The two have exchanged words, with Davis dismissing Paul as a clown chasing money, while Paul has responded with respect, acknowledging Davis's skill while expressing confidence in his own abilities. The contrast between the two couldn't be starker. Davis, with an undefeated record and a reputation for lightning-fast knockouts, operates in the lighter weight classes, typically around 135 pounds. Paul, a cruiserweight, fights closer to 195 to 200 pounds, presenting a physical mismatch that many argue would make the fight uncompetitive. Critics on X have called the idea ridiculous, pointing out that Davis would struggle to reach Paul's face, given the height and weight disparity. Others, however, see Paul's size as an advantage, arguing that his growing skill set and physicality could overpower a smaller, albeit more skilled, opponent like Davis. The debate over a Paul Davis fight hinges on more than just physical attributes. It's a clash of narratives. Paul's journey is one of reinvention, from internet prankster to legitimate boxer, driven by a desire to inspire and create a lasting sports legacy. In a recent interview, he spoke passionately about proving that anyone can start from zero and reach the top in 6 to 7 years with discipline and commitment. His loss to Tommy Fury, a split decision, was a turning point, forcing him to refine his craft and silencing some doubters. His manager highlighted this evolution, noting that Paul was still learning during the Fury fight but is now a true boxer. On the other hand, Davis is a product of boxing's traditional path, honed in the gym from a young age and battle-tested against elite competition. Yet, despite his accolades, some fans question his willingness to take on high-risk fights at 140 pounds or above, suggesting he might avoid a challenge like Paul, especially at a catchweight of 195 pounds. The commercial appeal of a Paul Davis fight is undeniable. Paul's social media reach and promotional savvy dwarf Davis's, giving him an edge in generating hype and revenue. Boxing has always thrived on spectacle, and Paul has mastered the art of drawing eyes to the sport. His fights are not just about the outcome but the narrative. Each bout is a chapter in his self-proclaimed, amazing sports story. He's brought fresh marketing strategies, from viral content to streaming deals, and has even helped spotlight undercard fighters, a move that sets him apart from traditional promoters. One ex-user argued that Paul is the most successful fighter in history 4 years in, citing his box office numbers, pay-per-view success, and impact on the sport. While this claim is hyperbolic, it underscores Paul's ability to transcend boxing's traditional boundaries, making him a force both in and out of the ring. However, the boxing purists remain skeptical. Many argue that a fight with Davis would lack competitive merit, given the weight difference and Davis's prime status. Davis has unfinished business in his own division, with a potential rematch against Lamont Roach looming after their recent draw. Taking on Paul, a cruiserweight with less experience, could be seen as a step backward for Davis, especially if it's perceived as a money grab rather than a legitimate challenge. One analyst on X called it a side quest that would signal Davis's disinterest in competitive boxing, especially since he's not currently ranked in the top 10 pound-for-pound fighters. To reach that elite status, Davis would need to unify titles at 135 pounds and potentially move up to 140 to face fighters like Teofimo Lopez or Devin Haney. A fight with Paul, while lucrative, might dilute his legacy rather than enhance it. Jose Benavidez Sr., a respected trainer and father of David Benavidez, offered a different perspective. He praised Paul's performance against Chavez Jr. and suggested he's earned the right to face top-level competition, including his son, dubbed the Mexican Monster. Benavidez Sr. sees Paul's rise as positive for boxing, blending entertainment with legitimate skill. He believes a fight with someone like David Benavidez or even Tank Davis could be a blockbuster, though he acknowledged his son operates on another level. This endorsement from a boxing veteran highlights the growing acceptance of Paul as more than just a novelty act. Still, the question remains, can Paul compete with the sport's best, or is his success more about spectacle than substance? Paul's physical advantages, size, reach, and power, are significant, especially against lighter fighters like Davis. Some fans on X argue that Paul's size could nullify Davis's skill, with one user bluntly stating, "When you're that much larger, boxing ability goes out the window." They envision Paul using his weight to overwhelm Davis, who, despite his speed and ring IQ, might struggle to land meaningful punches. Conversely, others believe Davis's technical prowess and knockout power would outclass Paul, with one analyst predicting that Davis would outbox him 100% and potentially knock him out, despite the size difference. The Floyd Mayweather-Logan Paul exhibition is often cited as a counterpoint, but critics note that Mayweather was retired and past his prime, whereas Davis is still in his peak, making the comparison flawed. Beyond Davis, other names have surfaced as potential opponents for Paul. Sudo Ramirez and David Benavidez were mentioned by Benavidez Sr. as viable options, each offering a different challenge. Ramirez, a skilled cruiserweight, would test Paul's ability against a more evenly matched opponent, while Benavidez, a super middleweight, would bring elite-level power and experience. Paul's camp is reportedly planning a return to the ring by November or December, with discussions about Davis and others ongoing. The choice of opponent will depend on Paul's goals, whether he prioritizes legacy, money, or a mix of both. A fight with Davis would lean heavily on the financial side, given the weight disparity, but it could also cement Paul's status as a disruptor willing to take on anyone. Paul's broader impact on boxing cannot be ignored. He's not just fighting for wins, but for a narrative that resonates with a new generation. His goal to inspire young people by showing that dedication can lead to success in even the toughest fields is a powerful motivator. His decision to fight Chavez Jr. was strategic, not just for the name but for the rankings boost it provided. By securing a top 15 spot, Paul has positioned himself to chase a world title, a feat that seemed laughable when he started boxing. His manager's reflection on the Tommy Fury loss as a gift underscores how setbacks have fueled his growth, turning him into a more disciplined and technical fighter. The skepticism surrounding Paul persists, but it's quieter now. Early critics who laughed at his bouts against Anessen Gibb, Nate Robinson, and Ben Askren have been forced to reconsider as he racks up wins against more credible opponents. Even Tarver, while cautious, admitted Paul's improvement, noting his composure and technical progress. The question of whether Paul is legitimate is less relevant than whether he can continue to evolve while balancing his role as a showman. His ability to draw praise from figures like Garcia and Benavidez Sr. suggests he's earning respect, even if grudgingly, from the boxing establishment. A fight with Davis would be a gamble for both men. For Paul, it's a chance to prove he can hang with the best, even if the weight advantage tilts the scales in his favor. For Davis, it's a high-risk, high-reward proposition. Beat Paul, and he silences the hype. Lose, and his reputation takes a hit. The boxing world is split, with some seeing it as a circus act and others as a bold step into uncharted territory. Paul's journey, regardless of the outcome, has already changed the sport. He's brought new eyes, new money, and new energy, forcing traditionalists to confront the reality of a crossover era. Whether he faces Davis, Benavidez, or someone else, Paul's next fight will be another chapter in a story that's as much about possibility as it is about punches.